Synagogue President Bruce Corris. Let's welcome him in the Shir Shalom way with our jazz hands here.
Lashana Tova, everyone. And I know that this is our most solemn day of the year, but I'm feeling great joy, and I hope you are as... What? Can't hear me, Greg.
Keep going.
No? All right, now can you hear me? No? Still no? Menza?
I can hear you.
Greg says he's hearing fine on the stream. So,
This is the radio.
all right, I'll talk loud into the microphone. Anyway, Lashana Tova, everyone. As I was saying, on this most solemn day of the year, I'm feeling great joy, and I hope you are too, because look at this. Look at this gathering. How wonderful is it that we can all be together like this? So welcome to what we like to call High Holy Days, the sequel. Here we are back at the Drive-In Theater, hosting this wonderful gathering. I want to show you something. Rabbi mentioned Rick Cohen, the owner of the Drive-In, and how grateful we are to him. He doesn't know this, but we put together a plaque that we'll be presenting to him later, and I want to read it to you. Rick Cohen, presented in appreciation of Rick Cohen for his generosity in allowing Congregation Shir Shalom to host High Holy Day services at the Transit Drive-In, enabling us to provide a truly memorable experience for our members. Thank you from the Shir Shalom family. So let's give Rick a thank you, and again, we'll present this to him later. And welcome. I'll turn it over to the Rabbi and Cantor, and enjoy this wonderful, wonderful experience. It is so wonderful to have you all with us today. Lashana Tova, everyone.
Thank you, Bruce. Yeah. Okay,
Hello?
just Todd mentioned that you can only hear it if you have it on in your car. So if you're not hearing it and you can hear my voice, we're on 87.9 over here. Just turn your car station to 87.9. I should also just remind you as you're coming in that if for some reason you have a battery operated car, you might want to turn it on periodically. I'm going to move back so people can see me over in cyberspace as well. We welcome you here, and let's take a nice deep breath as we come into our Yom Kippur at a drive-in. Who would have ever thought? We are going to begin our prayers with the Baruch Hu. We invite you to rise. Are we doing an opening?
Bless this year.
Okay, so we're going to begin with Bless This Year. What was going on? I had the Rosh Hashanah outline. That wouldn't work. Let's turn to page 135 and we'll read together. I never thought we'd start the service by saying, start your engines. At the top. We stand this day, all of us, in the presence of our God, youth, elders, women, and children, those close to tradition and those who have been estranged. All are welcome in this community of prayer. Around the world, all Israel greets this holy day. We stand with them, a people united by our history and fate. linked in mind and heart to generations past, who stood before God to be cleansed of their sins in Russia, Poland, Germany, and Spain, in Morocco, Egypt, Brazil, and India. Our great-grandparents are here with us today, and our great-great-grandchildren as well. All are present in memory and hope. We stand this sacred morning, all of us, as one. And we'll turn now to the Barchu, our call of community. If you are outside, it's on page 178. If you are able to rise, please rise. If not, you could just straighten out your knees. Page 178, our call of community. Standing for the Shema, page 186. Be seated. We're going to be turning to the V'ahavta on 188 just to relay the importance of this day. Cantor, with her full force, sang the Baruch Shem Kavod. That's what we do on Yom Kippur. We reveal ourselves. We say things we don't always say. So you may be seated as we turn to the V'ahavta, page 188.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מיותיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננת לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו עשיתם וכל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We're going to turn now to the Michamocha, page 196, as you will hear throughout the service, the special melodies for the High Holy Days. 196.
Adonai Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
Amen. Page 198, the introduction to the Tefillah, our standing prayer. Please join with me. In the depths of night, by the edge of the river, Jacob was left alone. In heartfelt longing in the temple of God, Hannah uttered her prayer alone. In the barren wilderness, in doubt and despair, Elijah found God alone. On the holiest day in the Holy of Holies, the high priest entered alone. We are bound to one another in a myriad of ways, but each soul needs time to itself. In solitude, we meet the solitary one. Silence makes space for the still small voice. For the psalmist says, deep calls unto deep. From the depths of our soul, we seek what is most profound. I invite you, if you're able, to rise as we'll do the beginning of the Amidah, the Tefillah, our central prayer addressing God silently. We're just going to be doing through page 209. So take a few minutes to pray your own prayers that you need. And whenever you're ready, you may be seated.
Adonai sifatai tifta, ufi agitehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
We continue quietly. We're going to be continuing with the Zakrenu, which is on page number 202. 202. Continue on page 209 as we move to the Vidui, actually the Unatana Tokef, one of our central sections. Apologies, it's very windy up here. We might have a rabbi and cantor blowing away soon. Oh no. I talked about Dorothy. This is what it feels like up here. Untitled Chapter, page 209. Today we call it by its rightful name, a day of dread. No Rabbi Vayom, an unwelcome visitor. For we want to live in a sunny world where God is love and all endings are happy. But the drumbeat sounds and the words tumble down, and even the angels tremble with fear. For all things are judged, and all things will pass, and life ends in a heartbeat, and death knows our name. At the start of the year, in the season of truth, comes the day of remembrance. For all we forget and all we deny, and we fall on our knees in the depths of our heart, and we know the bell tolls for us. The words are old and the language was theirs, but the call is real and the message is ours. Take hold of your life while you still have the chance, for your story will end, and it might be this year, in a way that you don't know. Take hold of your life, make things right while you can, and don't miss the call of the day of the dread. The Untitled Chapter, page 208. Page 210. And so a great shofar will cry, Tikiyah, a still small voice will be heard. Angels in a whirl of fear and trembling will say, Behold the day of judgment, for they too are judged. In your eyes even they are not blameless. All who come into the world pass before you like sheep before their shepherd, as a shepherd considers the flock when it passes before the staff. You count and consider every life. You set bounds. You decide destiny. You inscribe judgments. On the next page, on Rosh Hashanah, this is written. On the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. Together on 2:12. On Rosh Hashanah, this is written. On the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. How many will pass away from this world? How many will be born into it? Who will live and who will die? Who will reach the ripeness of age? Who will be taken before their time? Who by fire, who by water? Who by war and who by beast? Who by famine and who by drought? Who by earthquake and who by plague? Who by strangling and who by stoning? Who will rest and who will wander? Who will be tranquil? Who will be troubled? Who will be calm and who will be tormented? Who will live in poverty and who in prosperity? Who will be humbled and who exalted? On 2:14. But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteousness giving, we can transcend the harshness of the decree. You to rise if you aren't already. It looks like you are. For the Avinu Malkeinu, page 252 and 253. If we were in the sanctuary, our ark doors would be open and we'd all rise for this petitionary prayer. Please join with me. Actually, we'll read responsively 252 and 253. Avinu Malkeinu, Almighty and merciful, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror. Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names into the book of lives well lived. Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings. Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes behold the dawn. Avinu Malkeinu, we pray, do not turn us away from you with nothing. Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayers with love and accept and embrace it. Avinu Malkeinu, act towards us as befits your name. Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not for ours. Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign. Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice, treat us with tender compassion. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Hanenu Hanenu, Avinu Malkeinu, Hanenu Hanenu, Yemanu Masi, Aseimanu, Zilkaka Vachase, Aseimanu, Tzedaka Vachase, Vehoshienu, Avinu Malkeinu, Hanenu Hanenu, Avinu Malkeinu, Hanenu Hanenu, Yemanu Masi.
You may be seated.
When you speak, you can step forward. Yeah, when you're going to speak. You're speaking now?
I don't know. What do you think, Bruce? How fast is this wind up here?
It's a good clip.
Sorry. Yeah, it does. It feels like we're at the beach. All right, I'm going to come out over here. Good seeing you, everyone. Let's see a big wave. Sorry, Cantor's just adjusting the camera here. It's very moving for us up here to be able to see all of you, and it really warms our heart just to be together. This sermon is called Decluttering Our Lives to Find Gold. When I was in grade school, I used to collect baseball cards. Are there any baseball card collectors out there? I know Al Gellan somewhere. I loved opening the thin, crisp packages to see what was inside. I scoured the statistics, ingesting every at-bat, game played, and runs batted in. I knew exactly what Wade Boggs hit in 1986, how many strikeouts Roger Clemens had in his rookie year, and how close my favorite player, Mike Schmidt, was to the all-time home run record. And I knew exactly how much each card was worth down to the penny. Collecting cards was both about having fun in the present and investing in the future. And just like my uncle, whose Mickey Mantles were now worth the future, that is if my grandmother hadn't thrown them all in the trash, if I cared for them just so, pushing the good ones in clear plastic binders, it would pay off later. Always a plan until the 1993. Some of you remember that year. My sophomore year of college, when the baseball players went on strike and the value of baseball cards went down the drain. Suddenly they were worth nothing. I had learned the hard truth of all markets, even baseball card ones. What goes up must inevitably come down. And for a while I was devastated. My college nest egg was gone. All that time and energy I had placed into the hobby had been wasted. Or had it? Was making money the central purpose of the hobby, or was it so much more? Wasn't it about bonding with friends, being part of a team of like-minded people from around the country, and just the pure joy of immersing myself in a world beyond my own? That, as the commercial tells us, was priceless. In our lives, there are many things whose value fluctuates, changing depending on circumstance and situation. And sometimes it just takes a calamitous event to truly teach us about what really matters. In late May, a group of B'nai Mitzvah students-to-be sat down with event planner extraordinaire Liz Grady. Liz has been wandering around wherever you are. To get advice on how to move forward with their big day. COVID had thrown doubt on everything, and even whether they could hold the event at all was now in question. In the Zoom conference room, Liz challenged the pre-adolescents, there goes my book, about the purpose of their coming-of-age ceremony. Becoming a Jewish adult in front of family and friends was not going to be a good enough answer. What makes it so special for you, as she asked them, for anyone else, forcing them to go deeper, and each time they did, she asked for more. Yet, yes, but what is it really about? We heard answers about grandparents and great-grandparents, about sports and academic accomplishments, about the completion of years of religious school. For each of the brave members of the group who agreed to be challenged, the answer was different. Only by digging deeper could they really get started with their planning process. Liz was following a technique she had learned from Priya Parker's The Art of Gathering, who calls this technique her Passover principle. Why is this night different from all others? As Parker suggests in a section of the book she calls Drill, Baby, Drill, take the reasons you think you are gathering and keep drilling below. Ask why you are doing it. When you get an answer, ask why again. Only by finding why we are really doing what we are doing can we figure out how to move forward. So much of our life is clutter, taking us away from what we first came to do in the first place. I'm reminded of the classic Jewish story of the poor couple with 10 kids, living in a cramped one-room house. Who go to the rabbi for advice on how to simplify their lives. Bring in your chickens, they are told. And when they return even more stressed out, they are told to bring in the sheep as well. Now at their wits' end, they are told to bring in the cows. You can imagine the commotion. What? They say in astonishment, but this is a community that listens to their rabbi no matter what. They do so anyways. Now they're in such a bad state, they're literally falling apart. You can remove the animals, the rabbi tells them, and suddenly the house is quiet. And they realize the way things were before was not as bad as they once thought. The pandemic has had a similar effect on us. Without realizing it, we have been slowly bringing in more and more noise into our lives. Possessions, activities, technologies, things meant to bring joy and satisfaction that now just weighed us down. And for a while in late March, early April, we were forced into small confines. Commutes to work and school, the shuttling of children, dates with friends and family, everything had come to a halt. Believe it or not, we see a lot of traffic out there on Transit Drive. It was quiet. It was quiet for a little while. At first, it was frustrating and stifling, but then perhaps it was liberating. At the Lazarus Klein, this meant long Monopoly games, cooking sessions, wild games of basketball and frisbee, walks around the block, around the neighborhood, around anywhere that was less than a half-hour drive from our house. For the first time in a long time, we had time just to be. Don't get me wrong, these past 6 months have been quite challenging, with plenty of moments of despair and frustration. Just look at trying to do a sermon on the top of a roof. Here in Buffalo, we have been cut off from our extended family, with Ashira and I not having seen our parents or siblings for the entire time of the pandemic. Normal plans, our kids' beloved overnight camp, trips to the Jersey Shore or out of the area, postponed indefinitely. And add to that the expected fighting and mess that accompanies a house filled with 3 school-age kids and 2 rambunctious puppies. And for many of you, the consequences of COVID have been far worse. None of this should be minimized. But I hope you felt like I have, that this has also been an opportunity to reset our lives, not only our personal ones, but our communal ones. Here at Shir Shalom, all the normal activities were suddenly removed, and we could start over, asking the question that Liz Grady asked the B'nai Mitzvah students: why? Being so constrained forced us to make choices, forced us to decide what truly mattered. In Kabbalistic parlance, this act of editing our actions is called simsun, or contraction. Isaac Luria introduced this concept to the world in the 16th century, as he considered how a God of infinite possibilities could create a finite world. This painfully shy but brilliant teacher spoke barely above a whisper, talked about a God who needed to contract in order for the world to expand. I felt this idea of Simsun on Rosh Hashanah. We had decluttered, and in doing our very best impression of Marie Kondo, we uncovered gold. For the first time in a long time, felt the emotions of these most precious days rush at them, felt tears in your eyes. One moment in particular stands out for me. Tashlik at the JCC. This ancient ceremony of tossing breadcrumbs to remove sins had grown a little stale. But here in this new spot by the bridge over Ellicott Creek on the bike path, I felt overcome with emotion. Because we were standing beside a bridge, I asked Dr. Andy Simons to play Gesher Zar Ma'od, the famous song by Rabbi Nachman of Braslov that tells us the whole world is a narrow bridge, and the ikar, the essential thing, is not to be afraid. Well, I have sung this many times on High Holy Days, even written a sermon or two with it as its central message. This year, the words hit me differently. What makes us not afraid is the ikar, is the essential thing. By focusing on what truly matters, we knew that what we should preserve, and because we did, we had nothing to fear. forced to make hard course choices, removing the extraneous, eliminating the unnecessary. We had uncovered the inkar, the essential, not just in our holidays, but in our lives. Watching the tiny bits of breadcrumbs cascade like a waterfall, I felt the magic of old traditions being reborn. A year ago, while we could still travel, I went back to my childhood home and scooped up a handful of old baseball cards. My mom, God bless her, had kept them all these years just as they were. I brought them home to my kids, knowing their value had not budged in all those years since I left home. But that hardly mattered. My kids took them eagerly from my hands, devouring the statistics just as I had done years ago. The true purpose of the cards had been restored. Over the course of our lives, it is easy to get sidetracked, to lose sight of what really matters. It is only in these times, standing on the narrow bridge, standing on the bridge, on the roof of Transit Drive, that we are forced to reevaluate, and in doing so, remember the true value of what we hold dear. Hopefully, it is these lessons that we take away from this whole period, and the world, when it returns, is a kinder, gentler, and more hopeful one. Gemar Chatima Tova, may we all be written and sealed in the book of life, at some call, an easy and meaningful fast. As we come together, there's a lot of people that we're thinking about, prayers of healing. I'm not going to read our list. It's too long, unfortunately, so many names. We are going to be turning back in our service to Heal Us Now, which, miracle of miracles, I could tell you the page somewhere. Oh, I do have a page number here. It's going to be found on page number, let's see, 272. And I'm going to invite you, wherever you are, whether you're virtual or in person, to just call out the names of the people that you're thinking about. So many people here I'm thinking about. Cantor and I and Bruce and all of us, we're sending prayers. Say the names out loud if you so choose. Say them to the wind. Put them out there in cyberspace as I turn it over to Cantor and Paul to lead us and heal us now.
We pray for healing of the body. We pray for healing of the soul, for strength of flesh and mind and spirit. We pray to once again be whole. We pray for healing of our people. We pray for healing of our land and peace for every race and nation, every child, every woman, every man. Oh, please heal us now. Refuah nefesh, refuah guf, refuah shelema. Heal us now. Heal us now. Heal us now.
A complete healing of body and soul. We send out so many prayers. We will have a healing service later this afternoon. I'd like to bring up Bruce Corris, our synagogue president.
Lashana Tova, everyone. Oh boy, it's that time of the service again. People here, turn up your radios. People at home, turn up the volume on your computers. It's the annual appeal. Hey, those two cars are pulling out over there. Joanne, go block the exit. Lay down in the driveway if you have to. I know it's not our favorite part of the service, but it is important. You're having trouble hearing? A little louder? Too bad, that was a great joke. This is very important to us, especially this year. As I said, last year on Rosh Hashanah, while we are very upbeat and positive, we are in uncertain times, particularly financial. So this is a very important thing. How many of you remember the Kenny Rogers song, Through the Years? I want to take you back through the years. Back almost 60 years ago, a young boy named David Sapphire joined Temple Beth Am Religious School. I know that because he and I were classmates. That's how long we go back together. A few years later, David's father and my father served together on the board of Temple Beth Am. Flash forward a few more years, David Sapphire, Diane Sapphire, and I started working bingo together every Monday night. Flash forward a few more years, Diane Sapphire and my mother joined me on the temple board. There are connections that we make in our life. We make friends through the neighborhood, kids in the neighborhood, friends at school, people at work, people in organizations that we belong to, and yes, our synagogue. And if we're lucky, some of those people are with us for the rest of our life. They become our forever friends. Think about all the people out here who wouldn't be in your life if it weren't for this temple. And think about what your life would be like if those people weren't in it. So to talk a little bit about the importance of temple, my forever friend, David Sapphire.
Thank you, Bruce. Good morning and Happy New Year. For those of you who know me, you know that the best part of me is my wife, Diane. So even though she's not here at my side, she's here in my heart and in that car listening and probably critiquing everything that I say. In 1964, Broadway gave us Fiddler on the Roof. Fast forward, 2020, Rosh Hashanah, and our worship committee gave us Clergy on the Roof. And from a phone call from Bruce Chorus today, this morning, I've been asked to be the beggar on the roof. We are a congregation of almost 65 years old. And a people of almost 6,000 years old. A people of perseverance, resilience, and inspiration. In 1955, we started as a dream. I was there in my mother's womb. In 1956, that plan became a reality. In 1960, we built a building with a sanctuary and 3 classrooms. And if truth be told, I was thrown out all 3. 1969, we added a new sanctuary. 1990, a whole wing of classrooms. And in 2012, a merger. It's kind of windy up here, sorry. The merger. The merger that made us the first ever Reconstructionist Reformed congregation, or is it Reformed Reconstructionist congregation, in the United States. Always evolving and always pursuing our mission to be a welcoming community, a family of families, here to enhance all aspects of Jewish life. Resilient, and then no matter what obstacles have been thrown in our path, this congregation, your congregation, has dug deep, rolled up their sleeves, and done whatever it's taken to survive. These past 6 months are handing us our biggest challenge yet. Unbelievable. Through no fault of our own, our finances are shaky ground. And for some temple members, I realize that you may be facing financial hardships as well. And this shaky ground is not from anyone's own doing. It's not from poor money management or poor decisions, but from a pandemic. A pandemic. A pandemic of biblical proportions. To quote my friend's 3-year-old grandson, Papa, The world is broken. Our 11th plague, shutting down our two biggest streams of revenue. No matter how thoughtful, how fiscally responsible, or how well we've managed our money, no one could have predicted any of this. No more bingo. No more church rental income. No more in-temple events like rummage sales, our most lucrative of events. Over $100,000 in unforeseen lost revenue has occurred. Think about that. $100,000 that none of us, not even Todd Sugarman with his foresight, could have predicted. Ouch. It hurts. And to make matters worse, the floor drops out of Wall Street in March, and we are faced with a six-figure reduction in the value of our endowment funds. Principal that translates into a 20% reduction in the earned interest income that we use every year to help balance our budget. Your temple has done a remarkable job of keeping us afloat. The leadership has been outstanding. But NFL, yes, NFL, not the Josh Allen Buffalo Bills NFL, but the not-for-long NFL. Without help from all of you and me, our future as we know it is in jeopardy, serious jeopardy. We are in need of thousands, tens of thousands of dollars just to give us a fighting chance to get back to level ground and to rise above what we've been dealt. Now add in all the new costs associated with what we need to do to make our congregation accessible to all of us in today's Zoom world. Yikes! And by the way, our beloved clergy, they're due for new contracts in the next 6 months. Oi, when it rains, it pours. This is why I'm begging you to step up, dig deep, and make the biggest donation you possibly can. Centuries ago, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel said the world is sustained by these three things: by truth, by justice, and by peace. With all due respect, thousands of years later, our world not only needs to be sustained, but maintained. And that takes a fourth thing: gelt, money, tzedakah. Today, because of all the wonderfulness that we have at 4660 Sheridan Drive, our congregation, your congregation, Congregation Shir Shalom, is the temple of choice once again for young and old alike. But in order to make it the best it can be, to both survive and thrive, I need your help. I need your tzedakah. In a world full of chaos and constant change, some things remain the same. 4660 Sheridan Drive, a family of families, a song of peace. Over 64 plus years, I've lived at many places around the world, but one constant has always remained for me. 4660 Sheridan Drive, my spiritual home. Please give what you are able to give now. We need to make sure that all of us have another 64 plus years at 4660 Sheridan Drive. This beggar on the roof is begging you, pleading with you. Open your hearts. Please give. Have an easy fast. Gemar Chatima Tova. May you be sealed in the book of life.
Well done, David. Well done. We thank David. There will be, when you're on your way out, where board members are not circulating. It's way too big, although Kyle would love to. We're not circulating now, but please hope that you'll donate to our synagogue. It's much appreciated. We'll make sure to use the funds for good purposes. Brice mentioned this is a sequel coming out here again. We're going to sing Hashivenu. Is that? Yeah. Hashivenu, which is all about returning again.
Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha, Ben HaShuva, Ben HaShuva, Hades, Hades, Yamenu Kekadem, Hades, Yamenu Kekadem.
Page 294, we move to the section where we pray for God to hear our voice. 294. Together, hear our call, Adonai, our God. Show us compassion. Accept our prayer with love and goodwill. Take us back, Adonai. Let us come back to you. Renew our days as in the past. Hear our words, Adonai. Understand our unspoken thoughts. May the speech of our mouth and our heart's quiet prayer be acceptable to you, Adonai, our rock, our Redeemer. Do not cast us away from your presence or cut us off from your Holy Spirit. Do not cast us away when we are old as our strength diminishes. Do not forsake us. Do not forsake us, Adonai. Be not far from us, our God. With hope, Adonai, we await you. Surely you, Adonai, our God, you will answer.
Shema Koreinu, Adonai Eloheinu,
indication of the wind, I think God did hear our prayers. We are going to be turning to the section of the Vidui, the confessional section. We're going to invite you to rise on page 296 for the introduction, Tavo Lefanecha.
Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Savo lefanecha, tefilatenu, ve'amu titulu.
We take our fist and we gently tap our heart as we sing the Ashamnu. Cantor will lead and then we'll say responsibly after each one as we think about ways that we can do better this year. Beggar. page 304 with the Al-Khait, thinking about again how we can do better this year. Please join with me. The ways we have wronged you, openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world by hating without cause. The ways we have wronged you by losing self-control, and harm we have caused in your world through consumption, food, and drink. The ways we have wronged through sexual immorality, and harm we have caused in your world by hardening our hearts. The ways we have wronged through greed and exploitation, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business. On the next page. The ways we have wronged you through innermost thoughts, and harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor. The ways we have wronged you by offering or accepting bribes, and harm we have caused in your world by profaning your name in public. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. I invite you to be seated, and I'd like to bring over Bruce Corris, our synagogue president, with announcements and a most important announcement for the whole community.
Lashana Tova. Lashana Tova again, everyone. Admit it. If you had said on Rosh Hashanah, you know, we're going to be back on Yom Kippur at the drive-in, and the weather's going to be even nicer, I'd have said, did you have Mogen David for breakfast? Look at this, how wonderful it is that we could be here, and I guarantee you everyone up here is putting up with the wind blowing and things flying away just because of the wonderful experience we are able to have. So before I get to the regular announcements, I do want to read something. This is a letter that was written and is being read today by the presidents of Temple Beth Tzedek and Temple Beth Zion, in addition to myself. We are very excited. I didn't write it, so there are no jokes. We are excited to share that we are taking bold steps toward the creation of a new community school beginning in September 2021. This is a unique moment for us at Shir Shalom and our partners at Temple Beth Tzedek and Temple Beth Zion. As the pandemic has continued, and the depths of its impact on our lives have become more acutely felt, leaders from all three congregations have embraced this unique opportunity to work together to fashion one school for families across Jewish Buffalo. A school dedicated to helping children become Jewishly engaged, confident, and inquisitive. Our Shir Shalom voice has been loud and clear, as Rabbi Alex has helped to lead the way on this effort. CSS members Joel Weiss, a longtime educator in Western New York, and Jessica Cunningham, an active religious school parent, serve on this task force, and religious school director Enav Simons plays an important role in the conversations about what a new school could look like. The collaborative spirit of this task force is animating creativity and fueling energy to create a dynamic school that impacts every school-aged child in our three communities. When this school begins, should the school become a reality, our goal is that Enav and Beth Steinberg, the religious school director at TBZ, would be co-directors of this new entity. While this is a work in progress and the logistics of the new enterprise are yet to be determined, we want you to know that in this time of uncertainty, we are coming together as one community to build for the future, to mold and experiment and create a new and engaging community school. Now we need your help. If you would like to participate in a focus group or be part of our planning groups, please contact us and we will be happy to include you. We will start sharing our vision and blueprint for the school this fall. A video message about our progress will be sent out in late November around Thanksgiving, and we will unveil exciting details about the school curriculum in December during Hanukkah. Should you have any questions in the meantime, please speak with me or with Rabbi Alex. Very, very exciting times. Speaking of exciting times, welcome again to this wonderful service. I hope it was as meaningful for you as it was for us. Thank you, of course, to Rabbi Alex, Cantor Frank, Mike Frank, Greg Harvey, Mark Nightinger, Paul Staley, cast of thousands who brought it together. What? Oh, and Kyle Burt as well. He's scooting around somewhere. Anyway, took a lot of work by a lot of people, spearheaded, of course, by the Cantor. This was really a labor of love, and we hope that it meant as much to you as it did to all of us. Also, special thank you, of course, to Rick Cohn for allowing us to do this. I can't imagine what we would have done today and on Rosh Hashanah if this was not possible. As Rabbi mentioned, by the way, thank you to David for that very eloquent and very passionate High Holy Day appeal. When you leave, there will be board members over by the exit to collect your pledge cards. If you don't turn them in today, you can certainly mail it in or contact the temple office to make arrangements for your pledge, however you wish to do it. We thank you for your support. As David mentioned, it is so much more important this year than in previous years. Speaking of leaving, when you leave, you have a lot of cars, a lot more than Rosh Hashanah. Be careful, be patient. We don't mind if he shows Fast and Furious on the screen. We do not want Fast and Furious in our parking lot. Leave that away. I want everyone to say, where did they go? They went that away. Don't head them off at the pass, though. So exit to that side. We will steer you out. And again, be very careful as you leave out. The Sanctuary Productions, and Kol Nidre. Very special thank you to Cantor Frank for arranging them. They were beautiful, weren't they? Our Yom Kippur Day services will continue. 1 o'clock, we will have reflections focusing on the pandemic and education during this time. 2:30, we're back here at the drive-in for family service with Rabbi Alex, Cantor Frank, and Simons. Open to the community. If you have not made a reservation, please do so. Let Joanne know. Then later this afternoon, healing service at 4 o'clock via Zoom, followed by Mincha Torah service at 5 via Zoom. We move inside a live stream Yitzker and Neela service. Then we're back outside for a Havdalah, Park and Pray shofar blessing, final shofar blowing, and then handing out the break-fast bagel box, whatever it's called. Anyway, if you reserved one, we'll be happy to hand one out to you. That will be probably around 7:30. Make sure you follow the drive-through directions for that. Special quick thank yous to the women of Shir Shalom, our Board of Trustees, clergy, and staff for helping with our Rosh Hashanah gift bags. We hope they bring sweetness to your new year. Thank you to Sue Hill for steaming and hanging our ark curtains just in time for the High Holy Days. Thank you to our Communications Committee for their incredible support. We had so much going on during the High Holy Days, and they made sure that you knew everything. And then one very special thank you. Where's Todd? Todd Sugarman. Those of us who were at the cemetery yesterday at Whitechapel for the graveside ceremony truly appreciate what Todd and his crew at TLS Landscaping did. They do this every year in time for the High Holy Days. They go out there, they clean up the Temple Beth Am, the Shir Shalom, and the Temple Sinai areas, and it looks wonderful, and it means so much to the families. Thank you for Todd. And thank you. This has been, as you know, an eventful year, to say the least. When I went through all the words last year describing our temple this year, after the service, Rebecca Shaw said, I thought of another one, perseverance. And that's the perfect word to describe our congregation this year. We are persevering. We are dedicated to continue to be here for you. We are always going to serve your needs, whatever those needs are, however we can. And today is proof of that. We're connected. Even when there is a distance between us, we are always going to be together. Lashana Tova, thank you for your support and your patience during this time. And thank you for being part of this truly amazing Shir Shalom family. A happy new year, a healthy new year, a safe new year.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you for all you do. Really appreciate it. Just remember, if you're fasting, just take it easy. It's a little bit different type of day. As I said last night, safety comes first. If there's any kids here that want to come up to the drive-in afterwards to take a look at it, meet me in the back. Make sure you have a mask be happy to show you. Rick Cohen said we're allowed. If you have prayer books you want to return, bring into the boxes. We'll deal with that as well. We're going to conclude with Hayom, which is on page 318. 318 Hayom today.
From the traditional in this new prayer book.
Yeah, they have a tendency to do that. All right, Shana Tova, Gemar Chatima Tova. Great seeing everyone. Any kids that want to take a look upstairs, see what it looks like up here, meet me on the side. Gemar Chatima Tova. Drive carefully out. Drive carefully out. Thanks for being here.